Hey guys.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining today on our podcast. My name is Andy,
I'm Christina.
and this is the podcast called Journey to Millions. This week is going to be really, really fun, I think. And I think it's going to be cool and interesting because there's so much on the topic right now because of the political storm on immigrants. And a lot of people think because I'm an immigrant, I can't succeed, or because I'm an immigrant, XYZ. So they use that as a preface as to why they can't do what they want to do. And this one's going to be really special for me, the interview for me, because I'm also an immigrant. You know, my family's not from here. And it's going to show, I guess, a light on a successful entrepreneur who's not from here. You're going to hear her beautiful accent. It's going to come out.
I
And
love her accent.
it's going to be really, really cool. She looks pretty much like Kim Kardashian with a Brazilian accent. So, without further ado, guys, this week we are introducing Graziella Christina. We're going to call her Christina. And welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
You excited to be here?
I am kind of nervous, but
A little nervous.
I'll put out my best voice.
First podcast ever.
First one ever.
Okay.
First one. And hopefully, I encourage you, as from Christina and us, we encourage you to use this as a stepping stool to start your own social media, to start posting, to start doing podcasts, to start getting out there because your story is pretty impactful. So that's going to be your homework after you leave here from today. Is going to be to start posting on Instagram because people want to see who you are, what you do, what your life is on a day-to-day basis. So if you can promise Christina and I that you're going to be posting.
I'll try my best.
All right. So I have a bunch of questions. I know you have a bunch of questions. Do you want to start first or do you want me to go first?
Well, just tell us, I guess, what kind of business you're in right now and what led you to get there.
Okay, I'm in real estate. I just started not long ago, less than 2 years ago, because, well, I was taken for the ride. I used to do hair, and I met this girl at the gym. It took her close to 6 months, but she convinced me to invest with her. My husband, he had just sold a property, and that realtor posted the sales on her page, and then we shared that so everybody knew that we sold a property. That was our first investment property, but I wasn't into it. It was his idea, something he did, and I was just helping out. So it took her about 6 months, but I finally fell for her lies. She was saying for her scheme, yes, because she was saying like, "Oh, you can make so much money in real estate," which is true. But then, yes, I don't really want to get deeply into that because that would be another podcast.
True.
Yes, but then, we want to invest with her. She said she would teach me how to invest, how to make money. And
Is this a friend that you trusted at the time?
yes, I really trust her. Also because she was really humble person. She didn't look like somebody that would scam people. Like those, have you ever seen like old ladies, like old ladies, really old ladies that were stealing from the stores or from grocery, something like that. She wasn't that old, but she didn't look like somebody like that. And then she had a lot of self-esteem issues because she was overweight. So like I kind of like I want to help that person, and I did hair. So I wanted to do her hair. I want to make her feel good, and that's how I got so attached to her because I was trying to be the greatest friend to her, because she tell me like I buy these bags, like Louis Vuitton bags. She used to carry Louis Vuitton bags because I want to hide behind these bags because of my looks, because of my appearance. And then that's how everything started. She finally convinced me to invest with her. I talked to my husband. He was a little skeptical in the beginning, but then he let me do it.
What do you mean you invested with her? So this is the first person that like you're like getting close with here in the United States, and she's convincing you to jump in on an investment on what, a property?
Well, she wasn't the first. I had been living in the States since 2017.
Okay.
I moved here as an au pair.
You were an au pair?
I was an au pair, yes. I moved here once I graduated college back home, back in Brazil. And then I had goals. I was very always very straight to the point. Like I knew what I wanted, and I knew that I want to come here. So I was in college. I started college at 17 years old. I graduated at 21, and then I turned yeah I turned turning 22. um a week later I moved here to be an au pair. um
It's very brave of you.
Thank you. But that was something I ever wanted. And then when I left Brazil that day, when I hugged my parents, I knew in my heart that I was never going to come back
To Brazil.
to Brazil. I mean, not to live there, not anymore.
Let me touch on. I know that we started touching on the investment side of things, but tell me a little bit about the au pair. How did you get into that program? How did you meet somebody in the States to come live with them? Do you live with them, or how does that work?
No, so I didn't know a single soul in the States. I just knew that I want to move to this country. I used to watch the movies as a little girl. I was crazy about the American movies, the American culture, and the American homes. I want to have blonde, blue eyes babies. Yeah, yeah, I did. I did have one. I messed up her eyes, but yes, but like I was crazy with the culture, and then I was to tell my parents, and it's funny because some people are not religious, and I'm not that religious, even though I have my religion. But like I was in church one day, and then the pastor looked at me. It was a female pastor. She looked at me straight in the eyes. She said she saw me in the in a very high building with the United States flag. Yes, and then I always had that in my heart. I don't know because a lot of people, even my husband, he said no, it was never my dream to move to the States.
Husband's dream.
It was never, yeah, but I met him here. I met him here, yes. So it was never his dream, but it was always my dream from ever since I can remember.
Wow.
That's amazing. So you were an au pair living with who?
A
Like a
family.
random family with kids, or what?
I want to come here somehow, and I was in college, so I was paying for it. Was my first year of college. I was paying, and then I realized I used to study English on Saturdays. I used to take classes or sometimes private classes because I had that goal. I want to come here, and also I used to work for like these huge companies. I worked for an American company and a German company. They used to always speak English. So, I had to speak English. I was working for the human resource department. At some point, I was working for this company. That one was the German, no, that one was the American company. I was working for the import and export department, and my English was bad. So, like,
Here in America, you were working.
no, back home. I started working at 15, 15 years old. Yeah, I was like a go-getter. Yes. So yeah, I was working for as a human resource like apprentice, I would say. Apprentice, and then yes, I worked for that company for a while, and then I worked for another company. And then, yes, I always watch people speaking English, and also I would see the culture, people traveling back and forth, and that's why it only grew in me. So I got to a point that I was like, how am I going to make it to the States? Because I want to come here as a exchange student. And I'm like, how am I gonna make to the States if I have to pay for college? So I studied. I studied for a few months. I took a test and then I got a scholarship. So I was done paying for college. And then I started saving money to come here. And then in one of these jobs, I had a coworker that told me, "Hey, why don't you do the au pair? I did the au pair program." And I'm like, "Wow, what is that?" Well, you go to the States, you gotta qualify to be an au pair, and then you talk to families. American families are gonna interview you, and then once you match with a family, they will buy your ticket. You're gonna move there, and then you're gonna live with this family, work 45 up to 45 hours a week. Everything is on board, shelter, everything is on board, but then you have to watch the kids up to 45 hours a week. So that sounds great to me.
Sold.
Sold, yes. And then I did the whole program thing. I matched with a family. I was so anxious to come here. I just want to make it here, you know. So I matched with the first family, and it was a bad family.
It was a bad family?
A
No.
bad.
They were horrible.
Why?
So they had four children, and the host mom was pregnant with her fifth, no, three children, and she was pregnant with her fourth child. I was like, oh, a lot of kids for me to watch, right?
For the first time, right? Like, did you have any prior experience watching kids?
I had kids from my family, and then you need to gain certain hours watching others so you can qualify for the program.
How much does the host families with the American, how much was the host family paying a month or a week?
It is weekly, so you can work up to 45 hours a week, but you only get paid $195.
Oh
A
my
week?
goodness. When
Yes.
was that? What year was that?
That was 2016. 2016. No, it's still the same. It's been like that for a year since they invented. I think it doesn't ever.
We need to do this program.
We need to get an au
Seriously,
pair.
what are the qualifications for the Americans hiring an au pair?
Well, I think you need to have
Kids.
a nice size home, be able to provide a room, make so much money you're in order to qualify because you're gonna be sponsoring this person or being reliable, right, for this person. So there is a lot of qualifications, just like the qualifications I had to meet in order to become an au pair.
Do you get papers from that?
Like a work
Does the
visa?
You get you cannot you so you get a visa, a student visa, and then I got a social security, but I was only on my social security card. It said for not authorized for work, so just for that. No, oh yes, I think that's what it is. Work permit.
it was a work permit for just you working?
Yes, but I was given social security card and a number.
So as an au pair, do you have the so as an au pair, you have to watch the kids. Do you have freedom to do other things like go out to restaurants or
It depends on the family. So some families they have a curfew. So my family gave me a curfew. So I was 10 p.m. something like that. But I was a party girl in Brazil. I like partying. You know, I had my own money. I went to college, so it was hard for me. And yeah, some families they have a curfew. Some others don't. Some families are really cool, some families are really cold, so it all depends. You know, some families they only hire au pairs from their home country or their parents' country, like Germans. We only hire German au pairs from Germany, you know. But that wasn't my case. My family seemed to be okay until I got there. Um, yes, so once I get there, it was the first shocking thing to me was the fact that they asked, "Hey, Grazi, you want a pizza? Would you like pizza for dinner?" I said, Yes." My English was horrible. I said, "Yes," and she's like, Do you have pizza in Brazil?" I'm like, "Yes, we eat pizza in Brazil." "Oh, okay." So she calls me upstairs because they gave me a bedroom downstairs in the basement, very nice basement. And that used to be the host that's man's cave. So I had the whole downstairs to myself. It was in Pennsylvania. So it was exciting to me because I would experience the cold weather and the snow. So it sounded good to me. Um, and then she calls me back upstairs and she's like, "Okay, come here, grab your slice." And like she wasn't really warm. It's not that I'm not the warmest Brazilian person. Brazilian people, they are warm, like they want to hug, they want to touch. I'm not like that. But like that was like so upsetting to me because like I thought they would like maybe take me out to dinner or cook me something, you know? Cook, make dinner for me. But they couldn't care less. And but I had to respect their culture as well. But then I only lived with this family for 3 weeks.
You got out of there, he says.
Oh, that's it.
No, she kicked me out.
No, why?
So
Did you guys even fight? Did you beat her ass?
no, I wish I could. If it was today, I hope she will get to watch this. I'll be waiting for her. She probably doesn't even know I still live here. Well, 3 weeks down, things were not good. We were not getting along. Those kids would not listen to me. The 4-year-old, he was the oldest, and he used to scream at my face and say, "I hate Brazilian people. You are disgusting." He like I to this day I hate this word disgusting because of
I don't like that word. It's a bad word.
my daughter say, "No, this is disgusting. I don't like that."
You're pretty big on that word, so you don't like it either.
No.
No, he used to call me disgusting, like to my face, and then I would come and talk to her and say, "Hey, I don't know how to control this child. Like he's saying bad things to me with my broken English back then." And then she would say like, "Oh, he's the best at school. Nobody would ever say that about my baby." Like I was the intruder, the crazy one, the lazy one. They would make me work 45 hours a week. And then when I asked for maybe one or Saturday or Sunday, they would give me off throughout those 3 weeks because you need to, I don't know exactly now right now. I don't remember anymore, but I think you get to have 1.5 day off a week. So you can work up to 45 hours. That only depends on the family. You could work weekends only, and that would be fine if that's what the family needs. So I used to work hours a week, and then they would give me half a day off here in the middle of the week and half a day off like on Sundays. But and then they gave me a curfew. Things I wasn't happy. Things were not working out. And then I'll start talking to the program coordinator. Like I don't feel good. I don't like this family. The host mom is crazy. She doesn't listen to me. She doesn't understand. And on top of that, that's making me nervous, and I'm even struggling more with English. I was struggling. I could not speak because anything I would say, he would say like, "You can talk English. You can speak English." He would talk to me like that. The 4-year-old.
So hard.
Yes. So I was talking to my coordinator, and one day I tried going out, and then for some reason I think I rang the wrong bell, and then I woke everybody up at 11 p.m. and they said that I was supposed to be back at 10, but I was having a good time, so I came back at 11. But yeah, it was bad.
Oh my god, I think I want to hire an au pair. That sounds great. It does.
Just be good to her, please.
Oh, yeah,
You
for
would
sure, for
definitely.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as an au pair, I also had my duties. I had to be good to my host family as well. But a lot of au pairs they are mistreated. Like the housekeeper would come to clean up the house, but she wouldn't clean my bedroom. I mean, I wouldn't do. I have no problem cleaning up after myself, but it's just the way that makes you.
Included. To feel
Yes,
included.
and I didn't know anybody in the States. I was adjusting. And then 3 weeks down, I think she got one of the phones she had given me. So she got one of these phones, she went through all of my conversations with the other au pairs in the area and with my program coordinator. She read everything. She saw how unsatisfied I was. And then when I was playing with the kids outside, as I was trying to come back inside, she shut all of the doors on me. She locked all of the doors. I was trying to get back inside of the house. She just locked me outside, and then she grabbed my luggage. She grabbed my luggage, she threw it outside, and she said, "Here's your shit."
Oh my gosh.
And then I was sitting outside, like, just like I was panicking, like, what the hell is going on? I was freaking out. And then I was connected, and then she left with the kids and her husband. Her husband was just like staring at the floor, like,
Embarrassed.
I don't know, but it really showed like he had no balls.
Yeah.
Because if I ever did that to somebody, my husband, he would leave me like that. Like, you don't do that to people. It does, no matter where they came from. That's not what we do. So I mean, but he stood up for his wife. I don't know why she told him, right? But that it's funny, this is a whole conversation, but it's funny because when I had just arrived, I cooked them Brazilian food. I made them churrasco, Brazilian barbecue, and he loved it. That Sunday, I don't know which day of the week I arrived, but my first Sunday there, I cooked for the family because I always love cooking. Yeah, so I cook for them, and then he said, "Oh, this is so good, Grazi. Good job. Oh my gosh, what is this? What is that? Blah blah blah." And then the second time he said that, she looks at him and says, "Enough."
Oh, she's jealous. She was jealous.
Yeah, yeah.
I was pregnant, very hormonal, so she kicked me out. She didn't think twice, and then the program kicked her out. The agency that I was with. One of the au pairs in the area, she came to my aid.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I slept with her host family for a few nights.
She had a nice family.
Yes, she did. And then my coordinator had me for maybe a couple more weeks until she find me another American/Indian family for me to live with. And then that family was very nice and good to me. And I got to experience also in Pennsylvania, but I got to experience living with an Indian family and not eating beef as a Brazilian.
Oh, yeah.
I hate my life.
Cows are cherished.
Okay with that, because at the time I didn't miss like eating steaks like that, or beef like that.
Okay. So how did you get, so with the Indian family, you stayed there for how long?
A year.
A year. And then, so how did you get down to Florida?
Okay, as I was living with this family, I was about to renew into my second year, because you can be an au pair for 2 years straight. I met my ex at the gym. He was a personal trainer. I met him,
It's always the trainers. It's always-
and he was so handsome. He was so charming, American, blonde blue eyes, like my whole life's dream, and he was so nice to me.
Until.
Until we're getting there. Well, he proposed to me 6 months out dating. He proposed to me. Now and then I'm like, I think so. I mean, I'm deeply in love with him. And then I talked to my parents. My mom says, no, don't do that. I did it anyways. I came and I talked to my host mom and host dad. That's how we au pairs call them. She got really mad at me. She was pregnant again for a second. She was having.
It's the pregnant bitches. Y'all are always hormonal and angry. No, you're not. You're not.
She kicks me out of here today. I don't know why. Oh, I'm so used to this.
If anyone's from Wendell, it's you here.
No, it's because I think that was bad timing for me to come to her and say, "Hey, I'm gonna moving with my boyfriend." I didn't mean to quit the program, but I think she took it that way. And then I said, I'm not going to renew then, because she didn't want to see my face anymore. So I moved in with my ex, and then we got married. Not a big wedding or any like that. We just got married in the paper. And then just maybe a couple months later, he started showing his true colors. We were still living in Pennsylvania. I had quit the program. I had lost my visa as a student because the agency canceled my visa because I was no longer an au pair. And then things were not doing.
But you met this guy, and that gets you into citizenship.
Yes.
Yeah.
So because I'm legally married to him, I got the green card, but not back then. I was still applying. At the time, I was still applying, and it took me months. We went to the interview together. But it was never a setup because some people they do get married for the papers, and we're not here to talk about that, but they do. And I wish I did just for the papers because I suffer. I was hurting like
It was a bad marriage.
it was a bad marriage. Yes.
He was
And then my
abusive, I
mom,
think, right?
he was abusive, and I was
Like verbally abusive or like physically abusive?
not physically because one day he drank a lot, like he was wasted, and then he he was about to start beating me, and then somebody asked, do you want me to call the we were at a bar, do you want me to call the cops? I said, I looked back at him, he's like, you bitch. I'm like, yeah, call the cops. And then they called the cops took him, and he was screaming like,
Drunken rage.
I'm gonna tell my mom you're doing this to me.
Gotta tell my mom.
Tell my mom.
Yes. I'm gonna tell because his mom was good to me. I had no family, I had nobody. So he's like, I'm gonna tell my mom everything you're doing to me. And I'm like, okay, I feel better now because you're cussing me out here. So it was a bad marriage, and this day I was bleeding, I was feeling weird after this fight. I was feeling weird, and then I started bleeding, and I was bleeding for 30 days straight.
What does it mean you're bleeding?
Bleeding like
Like a menstrual, but
yes.
oh my gosh, that's
Were you pregnant?
I was pregnant, but because that night, the whole fight and the whole thing, I was pregnant. I didn't know, and I was miscarrying the baby, and I went through that for 30 plus days straight. And then I go to the doctors. They say, "Hey, you're pregnant," but then 4 hours they told me, just see here, because we're still collecting, doing some exams. And then they came back saying, hey, and I told my parents back home, I text, hey, I'm pregnant. I was a little worried because we were not getting along. But then I was, worried and happy. It was a happy
Yeah,
yeah, mixed feelings.
yes.
How old are you then?
I was 23. 23. Yes, I was 23. And then, yes, I was having a miscarriage. They sent me home, and they said there was nothing they could do for me. And to this day, I still pay that bill because I had to I had to put myself on a payment plan because that hurts your credit, right? So to this day, I decided to pay $20 a month for the rest of my life.
Forever.
I know. Stretch it out.
Yes, to this day I pay that bill. But yes, I was having a miscarriage, and then I started playing around, because I'm like I just
Playing around as in
You wanted to have a baby.
like sleeping
You
around.
wanted to have a baby. Like that?
maybe I did.
Or like you were having an affair.
No, like not protecting ourselves because like I just had a miscarriage. So even though things are not working out, maybe we don't get along like that, but I don't think I can get pregnant. And here I am, like not protecting myself, and then I got pregnant with my firstborn. Yes, I got
It's your firstborn. It's his baby.
his baby. Yes.
So you miscarried, and because of that, you thought, oh, well, if I get pregnant, I'll probably just miscarry again?
No, I thought I wouldn't get pregnant. I have two aunts in the family that have very
Sorry about that. We got cut off by the cameras. It overheated, so I had to like stick it in the freezer real quick. And
Life happens.
stick it in the freezer, and now we're good. So, but you left off with your first husband. He started showing his true colors.
yes. But I was saying that I can't really blame on him 100% because or just say like put myself as a victim because I was supposed to know better. I was marrying somebody that I barely knew. Because I was so in love, so I didn't care about learning more about his past. And then starting to, as I was pregnant, I started to find out he was cheating on me with multiple women, and then he would come back and say, hey, he would apologize and tell me he would never do that again. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part, so I thought he liked drinking too much, but it wasn't only that. He had drug issues in the past,
What kind of drugs?
all types of drugs.
What was his like main drug?
Well, he crack, heroin, but he wasn't shooting. He would yeah, I don't
Pills.
Pills.
Yes, he would crunch the pills and then he would mix everything together. So I was pregnant when he would just disappear. He would just disappear from the house and then come back 3 days later. And then I would talk to friends. Sometimes I would talk to people and or my parents because I didn't want my parents to know I was here in the States alone. I left as a girl that's left her parents' home to pursue her dreams and to pursue the American dream. And here I am. I mean, I have a college degree. I'm smart. I speak two languages. I mean, even though it wasn't that good, but like I was smart, so I did not want to bring up to my parents that I made the wrong choice, and now I'm paying the consequences. So I would talk to a couple friends here and there, and they would like question me, but are you sure? Like, why does he disappear like suddenly? And I say like, I don't know, maybe he was mad because we had an argument. I think he's on drugs." And I say, "No, no, he's not on drugs. I don't think he has a reason to be, or he's not supposed to be, blah blah blah." But he was. Um, and then I went through my entire pregnancy fighting against it so hard. I loved him. I was pregnant with our baby, so I was trying to make it work. And then a lot of times I brush off things that like he would just go out. So I tried pretending like to saying to myself, he's just going out to have fun with the boys. He's not with any women. Yes, and then he used to do drugs or and lose all the money. He used to go to the casinos in the same town we lived and blow all the money. And then I was pregnant, so it got to a point that I was so far along and I didn't have anything. I didn't have money to buy nothing for the baby. I didn't have a blanket. I didn't have a onesie. I had nothing. Yes, and then one of my friends, Michaela, she threw a baby shower for me. Like she literally got her mom and her aunts and threw a baby shower for him
Just the tears for me.
so she threw a baby shower for me with a few of our friends, and then I brought her aunts and her mom.
I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
It is okay. I'm over that. You can cry as much as you want. But it was a sad story, and I want to fight for him on the other hand. And then my mom, it's funny because when I would talk to my mom, she would say like, just fight for it, fight for your marriage. I didn't want you to get married so early, but now since you're married, you must fight for your
Yeah.
husband. It is an adjustment. You were pregnant, now he's married to you, so try to understand what's going on and save your marriage. But she didn't know he was on drugs, and so I had the baby. The night I had the baby, thank God he was there. Not the night, the day. Thank God he was there. He didn't leave that day because I would go take a shower, he would disappear on me. Well, that day I woke up, I didn't feel the baby's movements. She didn't kick that day. Roxanne, she didn't kick that day. And then I text my mom, like, the baby isn't kicking. And then the doctors, they tell us, right? When we're so far along, they tell us to kick the kicks or to count count the kicks. I count the kicks. Like, sometimes I would only eat because I would feel her kicking. So I'm like, she's hungry. Let me go try to grabbing something to eat. That day she didn't kick. I told my mom I'm going to wait a few hours. She says, "No, go straight to the hospital right now. Check the baby." I go to the hospital. He's with me that day, thank God. And then the baby is not kicking. She's not moving. So they decided to pull her out, do a emergency C-section. So I had the baby. He was drinking as they were preparing me. He was drinking Fireball. So to this day, I hate the smell of Fireball. And then, but he was there. So I was crying, I was desperate, but I had the baby. and then the baby had to stay in the NICU for 2+ weeks. She was fine, but she had to stay, so I had to go through that. Like having the baby is an emergency C-section. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready. And then he slept in the hospital with me one night, and then for the remaining 4 nights he left. He was gone. He was gone. So I had to sit there by myself while my baby was in the NICU. That's a very sad story. That's the only thing that hurts me still. That gives me chills, because everything he did to me prior don't really matter. I think once I became a mom and things that he did afterwards really they were
Because it's not just towards you; it's to you and the
Yes,
baby.
and like I would question him like I'm so good to you, like you cheat on me, you all that stuff. I don't I'm a nice wife to you. I take care of myself. I'm clean. I clean your house, the house, and I had your baby. So why would you leave me in the hospital if this is your baby? You know my mom couldn't be here because my mom applied for the visa. They denied it. Yeah, so I had the first baby, and then once she came home, and then we just decided to take separate ways. I stay in the house. He went somewhere. He would work and go do live his own life. So we were still legally married, but then he leaving the same house, but he would never really show up. When she was 2 months old, he overdosed, and yes, he died.
Like it.
He didn't make it. So he died when my baby was 2 months old. And here I am with a newborn 2-month-old baby in this country alone again.
That is so hard.
It was as bad as it can be, I'd say. But I had to keep going because I want to move back home. So I did pack up all my stuff. It took me 4 months or so. I packed everything up and moved back to Brazil. But before moving back home with my baby, I met Sam, my husband.
How old was like how old?
This is now 6 months. Baby 6 months.
She's 4 months.
Oh, at the time she was 4 months.
No,
She was 6 months.
she was 6 months.
6 months.
She was 6 months old when I went to a party with some friends. My Roxanne's next.
In Pennsylvania?
Yes, my ex mom, my ex mother-in-law, she watched the baby. So I went to a party with some friends and Sam's cousin, and then I met Sam 2 weeks before moving back to Brazil.
Wow.
Yes. So I meet Sam, we're still talking, and then I left Brazil. No, I came here to the States maybe twi 2 or 3 times to just get to know him better. But we were getting to know each other really well because we weren't really together physically. So we talk all day. And then a few times I came back here. My parents watched my baby for me. So I would come here. We went to the Bahamas together. I was so in love with him, and then we decided to move in. So I moved back into the States, but this time we go to Brooklyn because he just got a job there. So instead of moving back to PA, we moved in Brooklyn. And then that's how I ended up going to Brooklyn. And then I lived in Brooklyn for a little over a year.
What a big experience.
What brought you down to Florida?
Well, so Florida was my dream, right? Ever since it was my dream to get out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So I'm out of Pennsylvania, and then Sam used to live here. So as I was coming to spend time with him, I always loved Florida, but then he got this job opportunity in Brooklyn. And then we lived there for a while. And then from Brooklyn, we moved to Jersey.
Mm.
And then we lived in Jersey for 3 years, 3+ years, because Jersey was close to everything. and he didn't want to move to Florida because he had lived here prior. But when he lived here, he was the immigrant that works his balls off from dawn um sunrise. No, from
Dusk to dawn.
dusk to dawn. That's
Dawn.
One of those. Something. He worked a long time.
Poor guy.
so yeah. So he used to say, "No, I love Florida, but we will only move back to Florida the day I don't need to work my ass off like I used to." And then I would cry like, "No, but I want to be in Florida. It's so nice there." Until the hurricane,
Which one?
Ian. Yes, because Sam does he used to work for this company that does remodeling, right? So he used to travel to all every time a hurricane hits an area, he would be sent out to that area. So I was
Yeah, a lot of money in that. A lot of money in disaster.
He's been to Louisiana, he's been to Texas, Austin, Texas. And then I was pregnant again with our second baby. So I was pregnant because he adopted Roxy. So now I'm pregnant with Alex, my second baby, right? And he's not here anymore. He's gone. Yes, he's gone. And then I had the baby, I had Alex, and he's gone again. So he's always gone, and I'm in Jersey with the two babies working as a hairstylist. So, yes, once we heard of Hurricane Ian and he was sent down to Florida, I was so pissed. I was so mad at him. Like, how does he get to be in Florida? I did like he's like I like there is no electricity, there is no place like people are sleeping in sleeping bags. And I'm like, but you were there. And I'm not.
Way to look on the bright side.
And then because he had to stay for a while, right? They had a lot to do here in this area. So, it's funny because there is a saying, some people once cry and some others sell. No, it's in Portuguese. I don't really know how to translate, but like ones will cry and ones will sell tissues. Like it's not funny in English, but it is a funny saying in Portuguese. But he was here. Then I started visiting with the kids. I would pack our stuff up, and then once things calmed down and he was able to find a place to sleep, I was visiting him and just like, "Okay, can we move here?" He's like, "No, you're here for work, blah blah blah." And then I was really depressed up north in Jersey by myself with the two little girls. Um, and then I was starting to panic and say, "Hey, I don't feel connection towards you anymore," because it had been 5 months.
Yeah.
5 months. So the minute I started showing to him like that I was losing connection, that it wasn't fair to me, that I was living up in Jersey and he was here in Florida, and on top of that, I'm alone with the kids. I had my second baby. The doctor, we asked for a doctor's notice for my mom to come help me out. Again, she was denied her visa again. So I had two babies by myself, and he was barely there. He stayed there for 5 days and then he's gone again for work. So I was really going through a lot.
You're very strong. You're strong.
Well, I had no choice. That's what it is. I had no choice. And then he finally talked to whoever he had to talk, and then they relocated, not only us, but other few families from that same company relocated to Cape Coral, Florida.
So you haven't been here that long.
Since
Okay, since Ian's 3 years, right?
A year and a half, less than Sam, because he came right away, and then I stayed up north. And so that's the story. We moved here because of the hurricane Ian.
oh
Wow.
my
So that's
goodness.
so okay. Let me
Let's-
just sum it up. Brazil to Pennsylvania. You struggle a lot. You dealt with this man with first baby. He passes, overdoses. You meet the second man. You fall in love. You have another baby. You're alone again. Moved to Cape Coral a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and now you do so much, right? I feel like you do a lot. Like For the camera, everyone who's listening to this, you do wholesaling pretty successfully. You do real estate. You own some properties, and you guys own a granite shop. So there's so much that has your last year and a half has exploded. How talk to me about the wholesaling side. How do you how did you start that? Because that's not easy. Contracts and not having like perfect English, that's pretty hard to understand. Contractual agreements, finding a buyer, finding someone who's gonna. How did you get into that?
Well, remember the very beginning, I was this girl scammed me.
Mhm.
So I had to find a way to get into real estate because I was short with money. She had taken 20 plus thousand from me. And I couldn't go back to working in the hair salon anymore because now because of all of these things she play my mind, right? In order for her to make me sign a check to invest money into this property that I never laid eyes on. So she sold the freedom idea to me. Oh, you see how much you work at the hair salon as a hairstylist, and you need to leave your babies and your husband's away for work. You need to leave your babies with a babysitter. If you do real estate, you're gonna be so rich like overnight, right? You're gonna be so rich, you're gonna have freedom, you're gonna have time for your babies. So once I found out about her scheme, I just couldn't go back to the hair salon anymore. I just couldn't settle for the hair salon anymore. So I had two choices. I sit here and I cry over this $20,000 this bitch took from me, or I either be a victim or I take action. So I started learning real estate wholesaling because this is the easiest way for you to get into real estate, right? If you don't have any money, you learn. This is the concept of wholesaling. So basically, you find a house. You like, let's say one of the strategies, driving for dollars. You drive past a house. Oh, that house looks abandoned or looks like somebody, oh, the grass is high. So you literally get in touch with this person, with the seller, and then if the seller says yes, I want to sell, or I'm going through a financial hardship, or I want to sell for whatever reason, I inherited this property from my parents but I don't want nothing to do with it, I find a buyer. I find a real estate investor willing to take this contract from me, and I charge a fee for that. So that's basically what wholesaling is. So I had to learn how to wholesale, how to find deals, and then that's how I started. But it took me months to find my first deal.
You're a fucking badass. Tell me
Yeah.
about your first. You're fucking awesome. Tell me about your first deal. How did you from like the start?
Well, my first deal, I lost the contract because I got the deal, but the numbers weren't right. So I lost the contract because I can't find a buyer.
Wait, okay. Talk to me about that. So, how did you find the house? You drove past.
So when you study, I took a course, right? A very good one. So there is different ways of finding a deal. One of
But how
them
did you
is,
find this one?
how did I find that deal? So I had somebody that was in the same course with me, and then this person, they found a deal um, through the tax delinquent list. Yeah, tax delinquent list, right? So that's how we found the deal. So there is the tax delinquent list that you pull from the county, or you pay people to bring you the records, and then we skip trace the property owners. So skip tracing is when you find out their contact info, email, address, phone number, because information is public. So there are ways of doing that. So we get in touch with this person through text message, that which is what I still do nowadays. Text message. We do SMS blast. Some people call, so we can either call, text message, mail out postcards straight to the person's address. And then we talk to this person, we understand their motives, their motivation to sell. Once they show their motivation and we agree to a number, then we find the buyer. But that's how I found the first one, through the tax delinquent list.
Okay, so you get a house, call it 100,000 for easy numbers. You say, "Hey Barbara, your house looks like shit. Why do you want to sell?" She says, "Yes, my uncle died, gave it to me. I don't want anything to do with this." All right, cool. You say, "I'll give you $100,000 for it." They're like, "Okay, yes." They sign the contract, $100,000. Boom, 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 boom. Now what? Now what do you? How do you get that contract and give it to somebody else?
Well, that contract is assignable. So some contracts are not assignable. You know, if you sign with somebody, with with the buyer, they have to be the buyer. Our contracts are assignable, and we make sure the seller understands that. But most of the time, we don't get the nice properties. We get
Run down stuff that needs work.
horrible homes, like hoarder homes, properties. Like I said, they, like, the children had, they inherited the property from their grandparents, so they barely know how the condition of the condition of the home. So they're usually very easy, much easier to negotiate if the homes are that bad.
And so the first one, it fell through because you couldn't find a buyer, right?
So the first one fell through because I couldn't find a buyer, but I had just started. So I either didn't have enough connections, or I didn't know how to find a buyer, or I got the property under contract for a very high number that wouldn't work for my buyer. So that's why you need to first you learn how to do it, how to apply the formulas, how to look for repairs, condition of the property. You need to take all that into consideration. So in order for the your offer to make sense, for you to charge a fee, but it's not the seller that pays your fee. It is the buyer, the investor. So the seller gets whatever they agreed upon,
Right. And then you get the rest.
and then I get a fee based on what I negotiate with the end buyer.
Oh, you don't add on. You don't say, "I bought the house for 100,000. I can assign it to you for
No,
what?"
they always know. They'll know how much I got the house for. I tell them, hey, I got the house for $100,000, but I want $10,000 for assigning that. Also, and of course, that's my service fee. And some people may think, oh, but just for that? No, it's not just for that. It takes months. It's so many no's for one yes, and all of these campaigns, the cost to buy this list, the cost to send, to blast this SMS, it's a lot.
It's a lot. How many properties do you wholesale in a year?
So I just started last year, remember? Yes, I just started last year. So this year, by July, I don't know how many I had wholesale, because right now I don't only do single family homes anymore. I do mobile homes, I do lots, residential land, and I do single families as well.
So how many wholesale deals, not resident, how many residential, no, not residential, how many like wholesale deals have you done?
About 15.
15 deals
Yes. Since I started, yes.
in a year?
A year, almost a year and a half. Yes.
That's
Yes.
great. Okay, so what's the biggest amount of money that you made in one check
25,000.
for wholesaling?
Yes. A mobile home.
A mobile home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lot owned, yes. We don't do just the mobile home themselves itself. So we do the mobile home. I mean, my company only does mobile home with lot owned. It's easier to assign. Yes.
Okay, so you do wholesaling. You also do flipping. Tell me, how many homes have you flipped?
Oh, well, I'm just starting. This is my fourth now.
I'm just starting. This is my fourth.
No, yes, I'm closing on my fourth one next week, Tuesday. Yes, we are starting our fourth project. So I basically started as a wholesaler, so I could make money, work from home.
You've done 15 homes, 15 wholesales. Um, it could be, I'm assuming, small checks from 1,000 for lots of land, 2,000. And the most you've made wholesaling is how much?
25,000.
25 grand, which is awesome. You do that. You've done flipping homes. This is the fourth home that you've had, right? How are you getting the homes?
So the houses that I'm purchasing for myself, I find them through my wholesale campaign. So all of the past four homes that I purchased were through my campaign, just blasting SMS. Once they reply, yes, I want to sell, or they can reply with anything. We know we found a buyer. We know that's the seller. If they reply, they only need to reply. So once they reply, and now, by the way, nowadays I have VAs from the Philippines, so virtual assistants from the Philippines helping me out. Because before I used to make the phone calls myself, but now we have these VAs helping out. So we send out SMS.
What apps do you use for SMS?
REI reply. REI reply, yes. Once they get hit by our text messages,
And how do you collect that data? How do you collect a number?
we skip trace them. I use direct skip. There are several.
Do you ever get lists? Do people ever sell you lists?
So yes, I purchased this list.
How much is that list?
Well, the tax delinquent one is
75,000.
$75 with thousands and thousands of records. So like the one home I purchased for myself, I made 70,000 plus 71 some out of this one list. So it is really good because though nowadays I have the virtual assistants and then we pay for this list and we pay for information. Even though we have these little costs, imagine I only pay $75 for a tax delinquent list full of records, and I was able to keep one for myself besides the ones that I assigned.
So you pay $75. You get a list, and out of this list, how many come out of that list?
Okay, so I don't have a record of that because my first list, that list is long gone.
Okay.
But so basically, I paid $75 for that list with thousands of records. I was able to keep one property for myself, and I end up doing a cash out refi after I rehab that property, and I cashed out 70 plus thousand dollars out of this one list, besides all of the other deals that I was able to wholesale with from this one list. Yes. And there were times we just started wholesaling land, right? Because it's so much easier to wholesale land because they are not attached. There is not a home and memories. So it's much easier. And usually investors buy land, right? So it's way easier, um, much cheaper and quicker to sell. So the closing process, well, once you get the yes, I want to sell, and then I have this residential lot that I was able to put under contract for 13,000, and then I have a builder in the other side willing to pay 15. I'm making $2,000 just for finding this lead, né? This lead, and then it takes us about a week or maybe 2 weeks to close on that deal. So it's way quicker, and then we do more volume. So it's not on lots, we don't make a huge
But you do more of them.
fee, but we have volume. Yes.
One last question. I know that you guys are very successful now with a lot of the issues that have happened. It's kind of been a struggle since you've been here. You're just now really finding an explosion in your company and your businesses. In the next 5 years, what do you see yourself doing? Where do you see yourself at? What do you see yourself doing? Tell me a little bit about 5 years from now.
I see myself as a millionaire. I see my husband as a millionaire, and I see us all automating everything, because I started making the phone calls myself, and now I have two VAs working for me. So I think in the future, I tend to automate things even more. Um, my husband's business is growing a lot because he also has his own, and I see myself, my main goal, honestly, is not to only flip properties. My main goal is to buy and hold. I want to have as many properties as possible, as many properties as an app can handle.
Awesome.
That's wonderful.
I love your story. Everything about you screams the American dream.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people will take charge of that. Even after going through like the first miscarriage, they would have been like, "Oh fuck, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. I'll go to Brazil. I'll be a hairstylist." But that wasn't okay for you. And a lot of people get stuck right before the magic happens. And I'm honored to even hear your story about the failures, the struggles, and seeing you where you are now. I've seen you and your husband. I've seen you and your kids. You're an excellent mother. You're an amazing cook. You're an amazing businesswoman. I'm really excited to see where you are going to go from here in 5 years, 10 years from now. Hopefully, I know you're trying to move from Cape Coral. Hopefully that your sale doesn't go through and then you're stuck here for a long time.
She's not coming.
Hopefully.
She'll still be close.
But thank you so much for coming. If you guys can, guys, down below, we're going to leave her information if you guys want to follow her. Sorry, this kind of had a lot of technical difficulties. The lights being going out, had two lights go out. Thankfully, the mics are holding up strong. The cameras went off twice. This one did. But nonetheless, yeah. Nonetheless, we got through the podcast. There's so much more that I want to unpack. Maybe we'll have her back for episode number 2 to dive into more of the systems that she has going on. I didn't even touch on the granite, the stone company that they have, the factory in Brazil that they have. This is just the wholesaling side of things. There's so much more to unpack. Let me know down below what you guys want to hear next. And should we have her on for part number 2? Again, guys, please subscribe. Helps us out a lot. If you guys can, please go to Apple Studio and download and subscribe to our podcast there. We're also going to be on Spotify. We're on Apple, and we are on YouTube. But until next time, guys, my name's Andy.
I'm Christina. Bye, guys.
See you guys on the next one. Peace.